If you are a U.S. citizen, a green card holder, a senior receiving benefits, or someone who simply wants to understand what Congress is doing that might affect you or your family, this video was made for you. Over the past few weeks, many of you have reached out to me with questions about a new law that Congress reportedly passed without much public attention. Some of you have seen alarming headlines. Some of you have received messages from friends or family members warning you about changes to your benefits, your Social Security, or your Medicare. And I understand why you are concerned. When you hear that something passed quietly or without notice, it naturally creates worry. You start to wonder what else you might have missed. You start to feel like important decisions are being made behind closed doors, and nobody is telling you the truth. I want you to know something right now, before we go any further. My goal today is not to scare you. My goal is not to add more confusion or panic to your life. My goal is to sit with you, explain what is actually happening, separate the facts from the rumors, and help you walk away from this video feeling informed, calm, and prepared. My name is Michael, and I have been covering immigration and policy updates for years now. I do this because I believe that everyone deserves access to clear, honest information, especially when the headlines are designed to make you feel afraid. So let us take a breath together, and let us talk about what is really going on. Before we begin, I need to share a brief but important note with you. I am not an attorney. I am not a government official. I am not speaking on behalf of any agency, and nothing I say in this video should be taken as legal advice. What I offer here is educational information, explained in simple terms, based on publicly available sources. If you have a specific legal question or concern about your personal situation, please speak with a qualified professional who can review your case individually. My role here is to help you understand the bigger picture so that you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. Now, let us talk about this new law that has so many people worried. When you see a headline that says Congress passed something without notice, it sounds very alarming. It sounds secretive. It sounds like something was slipped through in the middle of the night while nobody was paying attention. But I want to explain how this usually works in reality, because the truth is often much less dramatic than the headlines suggest. Congress passes many pieces of legislation throughout the year. Some of these are large bills with hundreds of pages. Some are smaller amendments or provisions attached to bigger packages. Not every provision receives front-page news coverage. That does not mean it was hidden. It simply means that the media chose to focus on other stories, or that the provision was technical in nature and did not generate the same level of public interest. What often happens is that weeks or months after a bill passes, someone discovers a provision that affects a specific group of people, and suddenly there is a wave of concern because people feel like they were not informed. This is understandable. But I want to reassure you that in most cases, these provisions go through the normal legislative process. They are debated in committee. They are voted on. They become part of the public record. The issue is not that they were secret. The issue is that our news environment is so fast and so crowded that many important details simply do not get the attention they deserve until later. So what is this particular law that people are talking about? Based on the concerns I have been hearing, this relates to certain provisions that may affect benefits for seniors, including Social Security, Medicare, and in some cases, eligibility requirements for certain programs. Let me break this down for you as clearly as I can. First, let us talk about who this might apply to. If you are a U.S. citizen who has been receiving Social Security benefits and you continue to meet the basic requirements, your benefits are not being taken away. If you are a green card holder who has legally worked in the United States, paid into the system, and earned your credits, you are still entitled to the benefits you have earned. The provisions that have caused concern are primarily focused on very specific situations, such as individuals who may have received benefits based on incorrect information, individuals who live outside the United States for extended periods without proper reporting, or cases involving overpayments that need to be reconciled. These situations are not new. The government has always had processes in place to review benefit eligibility and correct errors. What may have changed is the way these reviews are conducted, the timeline for certain notifications, or the procedures for appealing decisions. Now, let me talk about who this does not apply to, because I think this is where a lot of unnecessary fear is coming from. If you are a senior living in the United States, receiving your regular Social Security check, and you have not received any specific notice from the Social Security Administration about a problem with your account, then in all likelihood, you are not affected by these provisions. If you are a green card holder who has maintained your status properly, filed your taxes, and followed the rules, you are not the target of these changes. The vast majority of seniors and immigrants who follow the normal process will continue to receive their benefits exactly as they have been. The changes that are being discussed apply to a small number of cases where there are discrepancies or issues that need to be resolved. I know it can be hard to believe this when the headlines sound so alarming, but I want you to take a moment and consider your own situation. Have you received any official letter or notice from a government agency telling you there is a problem? If the answer is no, then please try not to assume the worst. The government does not make changes to your benefits without notifying you directly. Let us also address some of the common myths that are circulating right now. One myth I have heard is that Congress is trying to end Social Security for immigrants. This is not accurate. Social Security is an earned benefit. If you have worked in the United States, paid Social Security taxes, and accumulated enough credits, you are entitled to those benefits regardless of your country of origin. Another myth is that seniors will have their benefits cut without any warning. Again, this is not how the system works. If there is ever a change to your benefit amount, the Social Security Administration is required to send you a written notice explaining the change and giving you the opportunity to appeal. You have rights. You have protections. The system may be slow and frustrating at times, but it is not designed to simply take away your benefits without explanation. I also want to talk about the difference between a delay and a denial, because I think this causes a lot of confusion. Sometimes people experience a delay in their benefits, and they immediately assume the worst. They think their benefits have been denied or terminated, but a delay is not a denial. Delays can happen for many reasons, including administrative backlogs, requests for additional documentation, or routine reviews. If you experience a delay, the most important thing you can do is contact the Social Security Administration directly, ask for clarification, and follow up in writing if necessary. Do not assume that a delay means you have lost your benefits. In most cases, delays are resolved once the necessary information is provided. For those of you who are green card holders, I want to offer some specific reassurance. Your green card gives you the right to live and work permanently in the United States. It also gives you access to many of the same benefits that U.S. citizens receive, including Social Security and Medicare, provided you meet the eligibility requirements. There are some differences. For example, if you spend too much time outside the United States, your green card status could be questioned. If you fail to file taxes or report income, there could be consequences. But these are not new rules. These have always been part of the responsibilities that come with permanent residency. The key is to stay informed, keep good records, and maintain your status properly. Now, let me offer some practical guidance for what you should do right now. First, do not panic. I know this is easier said than done, but panic does not help you. It only clouds your judgment and makes it harder to take effective action. Second, review any official mail you have received from the Social Security Administration, USCIS, or any other government agency. If you have received a notice, read it carefully and note any deadlines or required actions. If you have not received any notice, then you likely have nothing to worry about at this moment. Third, make sure your contact information is up to date with all relevant agencies. Many problems occur simply because people miss important notices due to outdated addresses. Fourth, keep copies of important documents, including your Social Security statements, tax returns, green card, and any correspondence with government agencies. Having these records available will make it much easier to resolve any issues if they arise. Fifth, if you are confused or concerned about your specific situation, consider consulting with a licensed attorney or an accredited representative who can review your case and provide personalized guidance. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the current state of immigration processing more broadly, because I know many of you are dealing with delays and uncertainty that go beyond this particular issue. USCIS processing times remain longer than many of us would like. Green card applications, citizenship interviews, travel permits, and other requests are all taking time. This is frustrating. This is stressful. But it is also normal in the sense that the system has been dealing with backlogs for years. If you are waiting for a decision on your case and you have not heard anything, that silence does not necessarily mean something is wrong. It often simply means your case is still in the queue. I know the waiting is hard. I know it can feel like you are forgotten or ignored. But please try to remember that thousands of cases are being processed every day, and yours will be reviewed in its turn. For those of you who are feeling overwhelmed right now, I want to speak directly to your heart for a moment. I know that many of you have worked your entire lives. You have paid your taxes. You have followed the rules. You have built families and contributed to your communities. And now you are seeing headlines that make you feel like everything you have earned could be taken away. I understand that fear. I understand that frustration. But I want you to know that you are not alone. Millions of seniors and immigrants across this country share your concerns. And the truth is that for the vast majority of you, your benefits are safe. Your status is secure. The system, as slow and imperfect as it is, still has protections in place to ensure that you are treated fairly. Let me summarize what we have covered today. Congress did pass certain provisions that may affect some seniors and benefit recipients, but these provisions are targeted at specific situations involving discrepancies, extended absences, or eligibility issues. They are not designed to take benefits away from people who have earned them and who continue to meet the requirements. If you have not received any official notice from a government agency, you are most likely not affected. The most important things you can do right now are to stay informed, keep your records organized, and avoid making decisions based on fear or rumor. If you have specific concerns, seek professional guidance from a qualified attorney or representative. I want to leave you with this thought. The immigration and benefit systems in this country are large, complex, and slow, but they are also structured and governed by laws and procedures. Changes do not happen overnight. Decisions are not made randomly. There are processes, reviews, and appeals. You have rights, and those rights are protected. The headlines may be designed to scare you, but the reality is often much more measured and manageable than the headlines suggest. I encourage you to stay aware, but not to live in fear. Knowledge is your greatest protection. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this video helpful, I invite you to stay connected with this channel so that you can receive future updates explained in the same calm and clear manner. If you have questions or if there are topics you would like me to cover, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many as I can, and your feedback helps me understand what matters most to you. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And remember, you have already overcome so many challenges in your life. You will get through this one too. Until next time, stay informed, stay calm, and take good care.